I shared half my meal. The alien princess sat next to me and whispered, "You ray different." The hum of machinery mixed with the chatter of travelers from hundreds of different worlds. Every corner was alive with motion, aliens of every shape, size, and color moving past shops, restaurants, and communication hubs. The air smelled of sizzling spices and sweet fruits, smells Eli had never experienced on Earth. He carried a small tray of food, a human meal he had managed to find in one of the station's many cafeterias. A simple sandwich, some fruit, and a drink. Nothing fancy. Eli liked it that way. He wasn't here to impress anyone. He was here to study, to learn about other species, and maybe, just maybe, make a small difference. Eli found a quiet corner near a large window. From here, he could see the stars stretching out endlessly, the kind of view that reminded him why he had left Earth behind. He sat down and began to eat slowly, enjoying the silence and the soft hum of the station around him. As he was biting into his sandwich, a small, timid creature approached him. It had 4 legs, soft green fur, and big, round eyes that looked almost too innocent. The creature sniffed at Eli's tray and made a small, whimpering sound. Eli froze for a moment. He didn't want to scare it. He glanced around. No one seemed to be watching. He cut his sandwich in half and held out one piece to the little alien. "Here, you can have this," he said softly. The creature hesitated, then sniffed the sandwich again. Slowly, it took the piece in its tiny mouth and nibbled. Eli smiled. "There you go, eat well." As he watched, a feeling of warmth spread through him. It was a small act, but somehow it felt meaningful. Around him, the station continued its constant motion. Aliens of all kinds were walking past, but none seemed to notice what he had just done. None except for one. Eli felt a presence beside him, and when he looked up, he saw her. She was sitting quietly, almost blending into the crowd, but there was something about her that made her impossible to ignore. Her skin shimmered slightly under the station lights, a color he couldn't quite name. Her eyes were large, almond-shaped, and glimmered like polished jewels. She wore a long robe embroidered with patterns that seemed to shift and move as she breathed. Eli's heart skipped a beat. He had seen images of alien royalty in his studies, but this was real. And she was sitting beside him. "You're different," she whispered. Her voice was soft, musical, and carried a tone that made him feel both nervous and honored. Eli blinked. "Me, different?" he asked. He wasn't sure what to say. Usually, humans were considered the less advanced species on space stations like this. Most aliens didn't take humans seriously, and yet here she was, calling him different. "Yes," she said, tilting her head slightly, her eyes studying him carefully. "You do not act like the others. You do not ignore the small, the weak, or the hungry." Eli looked at her, trying to process her words. Then he glanced down at the small creature that had eaten his sandwich. He smiled, feeling a bit embarrassed. I think everyone deserves a little kindness," he said simply. She smiled in return, a small, almost shy smile. It made her look younger, almost like a student rather than a princess. "Kindness is rare," she said, "but it comes naturally to you." Eli felt a strange mix of pride and humility. He had never thought of himself as remarkable. He was just a person trying to live his life the best he could. And yet somehow this alien princess saw him differently. Around them, the crowd moved on. Aliens of all forms walked past, some glancing curiously, others too busy to notice. But Eli and the princess remained in their quiet bubble, the noise of the station fading into the background. "Do you want to sit here?" he asked, gesturing to the empty space beside him. She nodded and slid her robe slightly as she settled down next to him. Eli noticed the subtle hum of her presence, something almost like a soft vibration that seemed to calm the air around them. For a while, neither spoke. They simply ate their food, Eli sharing pieces of his sandwich with the small creature that had returned to nibble again. The princess watched with interest, her eyes following his every move. "I have seen many humans," she said after a while, breaking the silence. "Most I do not understand. They are loud, careless, and often cruel, but you are different." Eli chuckled nervously. "I don't know about that. I just try to do what's right. Sometimes it's simple, like sharing food." Her eyes sparkled. "Simple, yet profound. You understand something that most of my people and even other species do not. It is rare to act without seeking reward." Eli felt his face warm. He wasn't used to praise, especially from someone so important. "I thank you," he said. She nodded. "I am Princess Lyra," she said softly, as if sharing a secret, "and I have not met many who make me feel hopeful." Eli looked at her, sensing a depth in her words he didn't fully understand. Hopeful, he asked. For the galaxy, she replied. For the people in it. Sometimes we forget what kindness looks like. You remind me. The moment hung between them, quiet and intense. Eli could feel the weight of her presence, the gentle power of someone who was both royal and wise beyond her years. And yet here she was, choosing to sit beside a human, choosing to share a small, unimportant moment of her day with him. "You want to know a secret?" she whispered, leaning just slightly closer. Eli's heart raced. "Yes," he said. "Not all of my people would understand why I am here," she said. "I am supposed to sit with those of my rank, discuss matters of state, and behave with decorum. But you make me want to sit here. Simply sit." Eli smiled, unsure how to respond. "Well, I'm glad you're here," he said honestly. "It makes my day better, too." For a moment, they both watched the stars outside the window. Ships moved past, leaving streaks of light against the endless blackness. It was peaceful, a small bubble of calm amid the chaos of the busy station. The little green creature nudged Eli's hand again, reminding him of the simple joys of life. He laughed softly and patted it on the head. The princess watched, her eyes softening further. "You are truly different," she whispered again. "I hope you never change." Eli looked at her, unsure what to say, so he simply nodded. He didn't fully understand why she felt so strongly, but he felt the sincerity in her words. Somehow, in the vastness of the galaxy, this brief connection mattered. As the station continued to buzz around them, Eli realized something important. It was not the stars, the advanced technology, or the endless alien worlds that made life extraordinary. It was small acts of kindness, courage, and understanding. And sometimes, even in the most unexpected places, such acts could be noticed and appreciated by someone who could see their true value. He shared his meal, saved a little for the small creature, and in return had received something far greater. A connection, a recognition, and a sense that maybe, just maybe, humans really were different. And the princess. She would never forget this moment, a simple lunch in a crowded space station, where a human had shared what little he had, and in doing so, had reminded her of what truly mattered in the galaxy. Eli took a deep breath, looking out the window once more. Stars stretched endlessly before him. The galaxy was vast and full of wonders, but somehow at that moment it felt small and beautiful. And somewhere beside him, Princess Lyra smiled. After the small green creature scurried away, Eli and Princess Lyra remained seated by the large window, looking out into the endless cosmos. The station's hum continued, but for a while it seemed the rest of the world had disappeared. For the first time, Eli felt that someone truly saw him, not just as a human, but as a person. "I've never met a human like you before," Lyra said softly, her eyes following a streaking ship outside. "Most, they are loud, brash, or careless. You are different." Eli smiled, rubbing the back of his neck awkwardly. "I guess we're not all the same." "I try to do what's right, I guess." Lyra's smile deepened. "You do more than try, you act without fear, you act with heart." Curiosity sparked in Eli's mind. "Heart?" he asked. "Do you mean kindness?" "Yes," she said, leaning back slightly, the glow of the station lights reflecting in her shimmering skin. "Kindness, empathy, understanding, qualities that many species speak of but few truly practice. Humans, you have it in abundance, though some of your kind have forgotten it." Eli's chest warmed at her words. "I don't know if it's really special, it's just how I am." Lyra looked at him, her eyes soft but serious. "It is special, that is why I am here. I want to understand why you are this way." Eli laughed nervously. "Understand me, I'm just a guy from Earth, not much to understand." "Maybe," Lyra replied, "but the galaxy is watching. What you do matters in ways you cannot yet see." Eli felt the weight of her words. He had never thought of himself as significant, not in a galaxy filled with advanced beings, starships, and powerful technology. And yet the princess sitting beside him seemed to believe otherwise. "Do you want to see something?" Lyra asked suddenly. "Something that not many outsiders are allowed to see?" Eli's eyes widened. "Of course." Lyra stood gracefully, her movements fluid and elegant, almost floating as she walked. "Follow me," she said, and Eli quickly gathered his tray and fell in step behind her. They walked through the bustling corridors of the space station. Aliens of every imaginable form passed them, some curious, some busy. Eli noticed the differences immediately. Some had multiple arms, others had translucent skin, and a few had floating appendages that shimmered with light. Yet, despite the diversity, all eyes seemed drawn, at least for a moment, to Lyra. She moved with a quiet authority, not demanding attention, but naturally drawing it. "This way," Lyra said, guiding Eli through a series of twists and turns until they reached a more private area of the station. It was quieter here, the corridors lined with delicate glass panels that revealed the station's inner workings. Engines humming, energy flowing through conduits, and tiny maintenance bots moving like ants. "This part of the station," Eli began, but Lyra shook her head. "It is usually reserved for my people," she explained. "Only those with rank may enter. I wanted to share it with you because I trust you." Eli felt both honored and nervous. "Trust me? I don't even know why you're trusting me." Lyra's eyes softened. "Because you act with honor. You treat the small and weak as equals. You share without expectation. You are human, but better than many of your kind." Eli laughed softly. "Better than many of my kind? That's new." Lyra guided him to a wide observation platform. The view was breathtaking. Beyond the station, a nebula glowed in shades of pink and purple, surrounded by twinkling stars. Ships moved along trade routes, weaving in and out of the station's orbit. "This," she said, spreading her hands, "is what my people call the Star Gardens. From here we can see not just the stars, but the paths of travelers, the comings and goings of merchants, and the patterns of life in the galaxy. It is a place of learning, reflection, and planning." Eli's jaw dropped. "It's beautiful. I've never seen anything like it." Lyra smiled. "And yet what you do on the station, simple acts of kindness, can make a greater impact than any view, any technology, or any plan." Eli shook his head. "I don't know about that. I just share what I can, help when I see a need, that's it." "You underestimate yourself," Lyra said softly. "To act with conscience when the galaxy encourages selfishness, that is strength." Eli felt a strange pride swell in his chest. For so long he had felt small, almost invisible, but Lyra's words made him feel significant. After a few moments of silence, Lyra turned to him. "Do you want to learn more about my people?" she asked. "Our culture, our rules, our ways of life?" Eli nodded eagerly. "Yes, please, I want to understand." Lyra smiled and began explaining. "We have a strict hierarchy. Rank is important. Decisions are made carefully with consultation. Yet, we have forgotten something. We have power, yes, but sometimes we lack understanding. Compassion is not as common as you would think." Eli listened intently, fascinated. The way Lyra spoke made it clear that she had learned much from observing the galaxy, but also from her own experiences as a young princess. She spoke with wisdom, humility, and a quiet hope for change. "In your culture," Lyra continued, "humans value freedom, individuality, and empathy. You help others without expecting anything in return. That is remarkable." Eli shrugged. "I think most humans want to help. Sometimes it's hard with so many problems, but we try." Lyra laughed softly, a sound like wind chimes. "Even when the galaxy is large, even when danger is near, you act. That is what makes you different. That is what makes humans special." Eli felt a warmth in his heart he had never experienced before. He had always thought humans were ordinary, just another species trying to survive, and yet from her perspective they were extraordinary. "Would you like to see something more?" Lyra asked, eyes sparkling. "Something very few outsiders have ever been allowed to see." Eli's curiosity flared. "Yes, I'd love to." Lyra led him through another corridor, this one lined with glowing panels that pulsed with energy. "This is the Council Wing," she explained. "Here, decisions that affect entire star systems are made. Most humans would never be allowed here, but I want you to see it, not as a visitor, but as someone I trust." They entered a large chamber. Beings of all shapes and sizes sat around a circular table, holographic displays floating above their heads. Eli's eyes widened. He could see star maps, trade routes, and diplomatic negotiations happening in real time. "This is where the galaxy is guided," Lyra said softly. "And yet, even here, true wisdom is rare. Many focus on power, few focus on kindness." Eli felt humbled. The technology was incredible, but it was the responsibility behind it that impressed him more. "It must be a lot to handle," he said. Lyra nodded. "It is, but today you remind me that leadership is not only about control or rules. It is about seeing the good in others, even when it is small." They stayed for a while, observing the council. Eli asked questions, listened carefully, and tried to understand. Lyra explained the significance of each decision, the customs behind each gesture, and the subtle ways her people communicated respect and authority. I've never met anyone who asked questions like you, Lyra whispered as they left the chamber. Most outsiders are either too afraid or too proud to learn. You seek knowledge and you seek understanding. That is rare. Eli smiled, feeling more confident than he ever had. I just want to understand the galaxy, and maybe make it a little better while I'm here. Lyra's eyes softened. That is why I am glad you are here. Perhaps, together, humans and my people can learn from each other. Perhaps your kindness can inspire others. As they walked back toward the observation platform, Eli glanced at the stars again. The nebula glowed in soft colors, ships streaked past, and the station continued its constant hum. And yet, amidst all this vastness, he felt a sense of purpose he had never known before. Lyra looked at him, her gaze filled with admiration and hope. You are truly different, Eli. And the galaxy will remember that difference, I think. Eli laughed softly. Well, I'll do my best, one step at a time, right? Lyra smiled. One step at a time, she agreed, and for the first time in his life, Eli felt that even one human could make a difference in a galaxy that seemed endlessly large. The day began like any other on the space station. Travelers bustled through corridors, merchants hawked exotic goods, and ships arrived and departed in a steady rhythm. Eli and Princess Lyra had spent the morning walking through quiet observation halls, sharing stories of their worlds, and laughing softly at small differences in customs. Eli had never felt more at ease or more alive, but that calm was about to shatter. A loud alarm rang through the station, sending vibrations through the floors. Red lights flashed across the corridors, and a deep, authoritative voice echoed through the station's speakers. Warning! Unauthorized vessels approaching. Security protocols activated. All personnel prepare for emergency procedures? Eli froze. He had read about station security drills and emergency protocols, but this was no drill. He could see the concern on the faces of aliens around him. Some ran in panic, others moved with practiced urgency. Eli, stay close to me, Lyra said, her hand brushing against his as she guided him toward a secure hallway. Her tone was calm but firm, revealing her training in crisis situations. We must reach the observation deck. From there we can see the attackers and understand their movements. Eli nodded, though his heart raced. He had never faced real danger in the galaxy before. Everything he had experienced until now had been safe, even peaceful. But this was real. He felt a surge of fear, but also determination. The two ran through the corridors, Lyra leading the way with effortless grace. Security bots whirred past, scanning for threats. Station personnel directed citizens to safe areas. The chaos was organized yet tense. Eli noticed the stark contrast. Humans often struggled with order in crises, but here, the station operated like a well-oiled machine. As they reached the observation deck, the view was astonishing. Outside the station, a fleet of small, black ships appeared from hyperspace. They moved swiftly, surrounding the station in a threatening formation. The ships emitted pulses of energy that lit up the dark expanse of space, each pulse like a warning shot. They are raiders, Lyra said, her voice steady. A rogue faction. They attack stations to seize resources and technology. They do not care about life or diplomacy. Eli swallowed hard. He had seen danger in movies, in simulations, but this was different. The reality of it pressed against him, a cold weight in his chest. Yet alongside the fear, he felt a strange clarity. This was not just about survival, it was about helping others. Is there anything I can do? Eli asked. His voice was steady, though his hands trembled slightly. Lyra studied him for a moment. Yes, stay with me. Observe, listen, and act when needed. Your perspective may help. Humans often think differently than my people or the council. That difference may save lives today. Eli nodded, absorbing her words. His heart pounded, but he felt a spark of confidence. Even in the face of overwhelming danger, he could act. The raider ships began to fire warning pulses at the station. The lights flickered, and a low rumble traveled through the decks. Alarms blared. People screamed, but security personnel moved efficiently, directing citizens to shelters and safe zones. Eli and Lyra crouched behind a protective panel, observing the attackers' movements. They are small but fast, Lyra whispered. Their weapons are light but precise. We must anticipate their strikes. Eli scanned the fleet. Something in their formation caught his attention. Lyra, they are not just surrounding the station. Look at their pattern. They're creating a trap. Ships inside the outer ring will be vulnerable if the raiders focus on the corridors between docking bays. Lyra's eyes widened. "You are right," she said. "Most humans would panic or follow orders blindly, but you see strategy clearly. Your mind works differently. That may help us counter them." Eli's pulse quickened. He was terrified, but he focused on analyzing the situation. He noted the positions of each raider ship, the timing of their energy pulses, and the weak points in their formation. If we can lure them toward the central corridor and activate the station's defense turrets at the right moment, we can trap them in a narrow passage. They'll have no room to maneuver. Lyra nodded, impressed. "Then we must act quickly. Follow me." Together, they moved through the corridors, navigating the station with purpose. Eli noticed the calm efficiency of the personnel around him. While fear existed, discipline prevailed. He realized humans often underestimated their own ingenuity, but here he could see it mattered. Reaching a tactical control room, Lyra took command, issuing instructions to security officers. Eli assisted, observing displays and analyzing energy patterns. His human perspective allowed him to notice small details that others overlooked. He pointed out a section of the station that was weakly shielded, suggesting a temporary reinforcement using mobile energy generators. Lyra followed his advice, adjusting the defenses. As the raiders closed in, Eli saw a group of civilians trapped near one of the docking bays. Without hesitation, he ran toward them, dodging falling debris and the flickering lights of damaged systems. Lyra followed, keeping a protective hand near him but letting him lead. "Move quickly," Eli shouted. "This way, follow me." The civilians hesitated but soon followed his lead. His calmness under pressure gave them courage. One of the children clutched a small toy tightly, eyes wide with fear. Eli smiled reassuringly. "It's okay, we'll get you out safe." They reached a secure area where security bots were helping evacuate people. Eli guided them in, ensuring everyone was accounted for. Lyra watched with admiration. Humans could be impulsive, but when they acted with heart and courage, they were unstoppable. Returning to the observation deck, Eli and Lyra continued coordinating the station's defenses. The raiders advanced, unaware that they were being manipulated into a trap. Eli's quick thinking, combined with Lyra's authority and experience, allowed the station's personnel to set up a defensive corridor. The first wave of raider ships entered the trap. Turrets activated, energy beams cutting off escape routes. Panic spread among the raiders. Their formation broke and some ships retreated in confusion. Eli felt a surge of relief and pride. Their plan was working, but the danger was not over. A larger raider ship, more heavily armed, advanced toward the station's main reactor. Eli's eyes widened. "Lyra, that one is too powerful. If it hits the reactor, the station could be destroyed." Lyra's eyes narrowed. "Then we must stop it. Do you have any ideas?" Eli thought quickly. "We can use the smaller ships as bait, draw them into the central corridor. Then, if we overload the energy turrets in sequence, we can disable their shields long enough to force them back." Lyra nodded. "It's risky, but it may be our only option. Let's do it." Together, they coordinated the defense. Eli observed the timing of the raider ship's movements, communicating precise instructions to Lyra and the security personnel. The humans and aliens working together created a perfect symphony of strategy and action. The heavy raider ship advanced, firing powerful beams. The smaller raider ships moved as bait, drawing it into the corridor. Eli's instructions guided the timing of the turret fire. Energy beams struck, hitting the raider shields in sequence. The large ship faltered, its systems overloaded. Finally, it retreated, damaged but intact. A cheer erupted across the station. The immediate threat had been neutralized. Eli and Lyra breathed heavily, exhausted but exhilarated. "You were incredible," Lyra said, her eyes shining. "Most humans would have panicked. You led, you acted, and you saved lives." Eli shook his head, still catching his breath. "I just did what I had to do. You were the one guiding me. Without you, I couldn't have done it." Lyra smiled. "You underestimate yourself, your courage, your quick thinking. That is what makes humans special. You do not wait for orders or for recognition. You act because it is right. That is remarkable." Eli felt a warmth in his chest. He had always wondered if humans could truly matter in the galaxy. Now he knew. Even one human, acting with heart and intelligence, could change the course of events, save lives, and make a difference. As the station personnel began repairs and rescued trapped civilians, Lyra took Eli's hand gently. "You have shown me something today." Not all strength is power or rank. Some strength comes from character, from humanity. Eli looked at her, humbled. I thank you, Lyra. I didn't know I could do any of this. I just tried. You did more than try, she said. You acted, and that is what matters. The galaxy needs humans like you, Eli. You remind us that hope, courage, and kindness can survive even in the darkest moments. The station slowly returned to normal. The raider threat had been repelled, thanks to strategy, teamwork, and the unique perspective of one human. Eli felt exhausted but alive, filled with a sense of purpose he had never known. As he looked out at the stars once more, side by side with Princess Lyra, he realized that the galaxy was vast and dangerous, yes, but it was also full of opportunities to do good, to act with courage, and to make a real difference. And for the first time, Eli understood that being human was not a limitation. It was a gift. The station had settled into uneasy calm after the raid. Repair crews moved quickly through the corridors, fixing damaged panels, reinforcing shields, and restoring power to critical systems. The citizens who had been trapped in shelters now emerged cautiously, murmuring thanks to the security personnel who had guided them safely. Eli walked beside Princess Lyra, his steps still unsteady from adrenaline. Every corner of the station bore signs of the attack, burn marks on walls, sparks from damaged circuits, and the lingering scent of smoke and energy discharges. Despite the chaos, Eli felt a strange sense of accomplishment. He had acted, he had made a difference. Lyra glanced at him, her expression thoughtful. You were remarkable today, Eli. Most would have frozen or followed orders without question. You chose to act. That is what saved lives. Eli shook his head, feeling a flush of modesty. I didn't do anything extraordinary, I just tried to help. No, Lyra said softly. What you did was extraordinary. Courage is not the absence of fear, Eli. It is acting in spite of it. Today you showed courage, intelligence, and heart, all qualities my people respect but few possess. You are remarkable. Eli's stomach twisted slightly, a mix of pride and disbelief. He had never imagined a human could be called remarkable by an alien princess. Yet the sincerity in her eyes left no room for doubt. They turned a corner into a quieter corridor. The lighting was dim, but Eli noticed movement ahead. A small group of civilians, still frightened from the attack, huddled near a closed hatch. As they passed, Eli heard a faint sound, a soft metallic click followed by a muffled hiss. Lyra stiffened. Stay behind me, she whispered. Before Eli could react, a shadow darted from the hatch. It was one of the rogue raider scouts left behind in the chaos. Its eyes glowed red, scanning the corridor, its weapons charged. Lyra's hand went to her communicator, but she realized it would not work in time. The scout was too close. Eli felt a surge of fear, but also clarity. He had to act. There was no time to think, only to move. He glanced around, spotting a maintenance panel slightly ajar nearby. With quick reasoning, he yanked it open, revealing exposed wiring. Lyra, over here, he shouted, signaling her. The scout advanced, moving with unnatural speed. Lyra readied herself, her posture defensive. Eli stepped back. This is dangerous. No, he replied firmly. We can use the panel. It can short-circuit its weapons if we act now. Lyra's eyes widened, then narrowed in understanding. You may be right, but it is risky. Eli nodded. We don't have time to wait. We have to try. As the scout raised its weapon, Eli grabbed a conductive cable from the panel and tossed it across the corridor. Sparks flew as it connected with the scout's energy field. The raider screeched, its weapon sparking uncontrollably. Lyra seized the moment, using a stun device from her belt to disable the scout completely. Eli exhaled sharply, adrenaline still coursing through his veins. Are you okay? He asked. Lyra looked at him, a mixture of relief and admiration in her eyes. Thanks to you, yes. You acted when most would have hesitated. You saved my life. Eli felt his stomach knot. Your life, You do not understand, Lyra said, her voice calm but intense. If that scout had reached me, the consequences could have been catastrophic. The council would have been thrown into chaos. You prevented that. You saved more than me. You saved the future of the station. Eli shook his head, feeling both humbled and overwhelmed. He had always thought of humans as small and powerless in the galaxy, but in this moment, he realized that courage and quick thinking could change everything. Lyra stepped closer, her hand brushing his arm. You are extraordinary, Eli. Not because of strength or weapons, but because of your heart and mind. You are human, and yet, unlike many of your own kind, you act with honor when it matters most. You see what others overlook, that is rare in the galaxy. Eli swallowed, struggling to find words. I don't know what to say. Say nothing, Lyra said softly. Just remember this moment. Remember that even in the vast galaxy, one person acting with courage and intelligence can change everything. That is your gift, Eli. That is humanity's gift. For a long moment, they stood in silence, the hum of the station around them, the stars visible through the windows, and the remnants of the attack still lingering in the air. Eli felt a deep connection to Lyra, to the station, and to the idea that humans were capable of extraordinary things, even in a universe filled with powerful and advanced civilizations. Suddenly, another alert flashed across the corridor screens. The main raider fleet, although repelled, had sent a reconnaissance drone. Its sensors were scanning for survivors, for weaknesses. Eli felt a surge of determination. He would not let them harm anyone else. Lyra, he said, his voice steady, we can use the station's automated systems. If we reroute power to the defensive grids and create decoy signals, we can make it seem like the station is empty. They won't know what's real. Lyra's eyes lit up. Yes, that could work. Your mind, it thinks in ways my people often overlook. Humans, you surprise me. Working together, Eli and Lyra rerouted power, activated decoy signals, and used the station's AI to project false activity patterns. The drone, scanning from afar, reported an empty station and withdrew. Eli felt a thrill of success. Again, human ingenuity combined with alien technology had made a difference. After the immediate threat had passed, Lyra guided Eli to the station's observation platform. From here, the stars stretched endlessly, and the nebula glowed softly in the distance. You see, Eli, she said quietly, even when the galaxy seems dangerous, even when darkness approaches, your actions can bring light. Courage, intelligence, and empathy, these are the qualities that define humans. You remind us that even in chaos, hope can exist. Eli gazed at the stars, the weight of her words sinking in. He had always thought humans were ordinary, small, and insignificant. But Lyra's words made him realize something profound. Humans could matter. One human acting with heart and mind could change the course of events, save lives, and inspire hope across worlds. Lyra continued, her voice soft but firm. Do you understand now, Eli? You are not just different, you are a reminder of what the galaxy has been missing. Humanity's spirit, its courage, and its empathy, these are rare treasures, and you possess them fully. Eli felt a swell of emotion. He had never been praised like this before, especially by someone as extraordinary as Lyra. I think I understand, he said finally. It's not about what I can do alone, but about trying to do the right thing no matter what. Lyra nodded, a smile touching her lips. Exactly. That is why you are special. That is why you matter. And that is why the galaxy will remember this day. For the first time, Eli felt truly proud to be human. Not because of strength or technology or fame, but because of something deeper, something universal. He had acted with courage, intelligence, and heart. He had saved lives. And in doing so, he had shown that humanity could shine brightly, even in a galaxy filled with danger, power, and uncertainty. As the station slowly returned to normal, Eli and Lyra remained on the observation platform, side by side. The stars stretched endlessly before them, a reminder of the vastness of space and the endless possibilities for those willing to act with heart. You are truly different, Lyra whispered again, her eyes meeting his. And I hope the galaxy never forgets it. Eli smiled, feeling a deep sense of purpose. He had faced fear, uncertainty, and danger, and discovered something within himself he had never known. He was human. He was courageous, and he could make a difference. As the lights of the station flickered back to normal and the hum of activity resumed, Eli realized that this was only the beginning. There would be more challenges, more dangers, and more opportunities to act. But now he understood something crucial. Being human was not a limitation. It was a gift that, if used wisely, could shine across the stars. And Princess Lyra, she would never forget this day, nor the courage, intelligence, and humanity of the young man who had reminded her of what truly mattered in the galaxy. The station had returned to a calm rhythm. The repairs were nearly complete. Corridors gleamed under the soft glow of new lighting, and the hum of engines and life support systems created a comforting background noise. Traders resumed their work, travelers moved with purpose, and for the first time since the raid, the space station felt like a safe place again. Eli walked beside Princess Lyra, his footsteps echoing softly along the polished floors. Both of them had been busy throughout the day, he with assisting the station personnel and Lyra with coordinating final security measures. But now, at last, there was a moment to breathe. "You did well," Lyra said, her eyes bright with admiration. "Today you proved something very important, that courage, compassion, and intelligence can change the course of events, even in the face of great danger." Eli smiled softly, feeling a warmth in his chest he could not quite explain. "I just did what I had to do. I couldn't let anyone get hurt." "That is exactly what makes you remarkable," Lyra said, her tone gentle but firm. "Not the weapons, not the technology, but your choices. Your heart guided you when fear could have frozen you. That is something my people rarely see." Eli felt a sense of humility wash over him. He had always believed humans were ordinary, small, and often overlooked in the galaxy. Yet here he was, being praised by an alien princess for simply acting with honesty, courage, and kindness. Lyra led him toward the observation deck once more. From there, the station stretched out like a miniature city in orbit, lights twinkling like stars, ships docking and departing, and the endless black of space beyond. Eli gazed at it all, feeling a sense of awe he had never felt before. "Look at it," Lyra said softly. "Every ship, every life, every choice, it is part of a larger whole, and today your choices influence that whole in ways that cannot be measured." "You are part of something greater, Eli." Eli swallowed hard. "I never thought of it that way. I've always felt so small, like humans didn't matter much in the galaxy." Lyra shook her head. "Humans matter more than most realize. Today you reminded me of something important, that courage, empathy, and quick thinking can make one person's actions resonate far beyond what they imagine." Eli looked at her, humbled and grateful. "Thank you, Lyra, for believing in me, for noticing me." She smiled, a soft and genuine smile that lit up her face. "I don't just notice you, Eli, I trust you, and that trust may lead to something extraordinary." Eli raised an eyebrow. "Extraordinary?" "Yes," Lyra said, her eyes sparkling. "The Council has discussed new opportunities for humans to serve as ambassadors and advisors in interstellar affairs. They are impressed with how humans think differently, act courageously, and maintain integrity even under pressure. You may be part of that change." Eli's heart raced. The idea of humans participating more actively in the galaxy was exciting and daunting. He had never imagined that a single human could have such an influence. Yet, as he looked at Lyra, he felt confident. If he acted with heart, courage, and intelligence, perhaps he could make a real difference. Lyra extended her hand toward him. "Will you join me, Eli? Not as a soldier, not as a warrior, but as a human representative. Someone who can remind others that humanity has value, that we can inspire hope, and that even small acts of courage can change the course of events." Eli felt a lump in his throat. He had always wanted to explore the galaxy, to learn and to help where he could, but now the possibility of making a real impact was in front of him. I will," he said finally. "I want to do my best, for humans, for the station, and for the galaxy." Lyra nodded, her eyes shining. "Then we will begin together. Today is only the first step." Over the next few hours, they walked through the station, visiting areas damaged in the raid. Eli saw firsthand the dedication of station personnel repairing infrastructure, assisting citizens, and restoring order. He helped wherever he could, guiding citizens to safe zones, coordinating repair efforts, and offering solutions to technical problems. Lyra remained by his side, observing his ability to act calmly and wisely even under pressure. "They are listening to you," Lyra whispered. "Even my people who are usually reserved and cautious, they respect your ideas." Eli chuckled. "I guess humans think differently. We notice things, solve problems, and sometimes improvise. Maybe that's why we're different." "Yes," Lyra said, smiling. "Different but extraordinary. You remind us that intelligence alone is not enough. The heart must guide it." As the station began to feel whole again, Eli and Lyra paused at a small cafe near the observation deck. Eli retrieved a simple tray of food, remembering how he had shared his meal with a small alien child days ago. He offered Lyra a piece of his sandwich. "Here," he said simply. "A small meal, but it's better shared." Lyra looked at him, eyes softening. "You continue to teach me, Eli, that even in simplicity, kindness matters, that even a shared sandwich can symbolize more than words ever could." Eli smiled. "It's not much, but it's a start." They sat together, quietly eating, watching ships glide past the station, and listening to the soft hum of engines. The moment was calm, yet powerful. Eli realized that even amidst the vastness of space, connection, empathy, and understanding could make life meaningful. After a while, Lyra stood, taking Eli's hand gently. "There is something I want to show you, a place few outsiders have seen even among humans." Eli's curiosity flared. "Where?" She led him through a series of corridors that opened onto a massive chamber filled with holographic displays. Star systems rotated in three-dimensional space, planets shimmered, and trade routes glowed with soft lights. "This is the Council's strategic hall," she explained. "It is where the galaxy's future is discussed, where plans for exploration, defense, and diplomacy are made." Eli's eyes widened. "It's incredible," Lyra smiled. "And yet the greatest power in this room is not the technology. It is the wisdom of those who act with heart, courage, and empathy. That is what humans can bring: perspective, creativity, and the ability to act for the greater good." Eli felt a thrill of purpose. Here, in the center of the galaxy, he could make a real difference, not with weapons, not with status, but with his human qualities. "You understand now, don't you?" Lyra asked softly. "The galaxy is vast and powerful, but sometimes it forgets what matters most. Humans, you remind us." Eli nodded, his voice steady. "I understand being human isn't a limitation, it's a gift, and I can use it to make a difference." Lyra's smile widened. "Then let us begin together." Over the next days, Eli worked alongside Lyra and the Council, learning the nuances of interstellar diplomacy, strategy, and communication. He shared human perspectives on negotiation, empathy, and conflict resolution. His insights, simple yet profound, earned the respect of species who had long believed that humans were insignificant. And slowly, something remarkable began to happen. Humans, once seen as ordinary, began to gain recognition across multiple star systems. Trade relations improved, disputes were mediated more effectively, and even the smallest acts of kindness, like sharing food, helping the vulnerable, or offering guidance, were celebrated as uniquely human strengths. Eli and Lyra often met afterward, walking through observation platforms, sharing simple meals, and discussing plans for the future. Their bond grew, not only of friendship but of shared purpose. Together, they symbolized a new possibility: that humans and aliens could learn from each other, that courage and empathy could unite civilizations, and that even one person's actions could ripple across the stars. One evening, as they watched the sun of a nearby system rise over the station's horizon, Lyra spoke softly. "Eli, I think the galaxy is beginning to remember what it has been missing, and you are leading the way." Eli smiled, looking at the brilliant colors of the sunrise reflected on the station's panels. "I'm just doing what anyone should do: act with heart, help others, and try to make things better." Lyra laughed softly. "That is exactly why humans are extraordinary. Your simplicity, your courage, your empathy, it shines even brighter than the stars." As they stood together, gazing out at the cosmos, Eli realized that this was only the beginning. The galaxy was vast, full of challenges, wonders, and opportunities. And yet he no longer felt small. He understood now that one human acting with courage, intelligence, and heart, could truly make a difference. And in that moment he felt proud to be human. For Princess Lyra, for the station, and for the galaxy, the story of one human's courage, empathy, and ingenuity would never be forgotten. The stars stretched endlessly before them, but Eli knew that humanity's light could shine among them, guiding hope, inspiring courage, and reminding the universe that even in darkness, goodness and bravery could prevail. Together, Eli and Lyra faced the future, an uncertain, vast, but hopeful future, ready to make the galaxy a better place, one human act at a time.